Welcome to the Beyond Sugar Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Dame, holistic nutrition coach and speaker. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I hope that you are sliding into spring with joy and also enjoying some nicer weather. It's actually been really rainy here, but I have noticed it's getting warmer, which is so exciting. I just cannot wait to be spending more time outside and get my garden started. So that's happening soon. Stay tuned for updates on that. And before we dive into today's episode, today we're going to be tapping into a little teaser and sneak peek conversation around how to trust our body's innate wisdom and how to really begin repairing the damage that has happened just in the society and world that we live in, where we've been so taught to distrust our body and to go against everything our body is telling us and believe that someone outside of us has all the right answers. So I really, really strongly believe this conversation and this work around relearning to tune in to your, you call it intuition, your gut, your body signals. We're going to be talking about that today. I'm going to be sharing some really powerful tools and insights for you today. And of course, as I said, we're going to be continuing this because this is going to be a huge part of the conversation in the upcoming Emotional Eating Bootcamp, which is a free 3-day live group, awesome training. And it is kicking off on April 3rd. If you're not already registered, you can get registered in the link below this episode. Of course, it's all over my social media channels. You can click there and come and get registered. You're not going to want to miss this. And I know I get this question every year as well. We all have busy schedules. You know, the dates are April 3rd, 6th, and 8th. So they're spread out because I'm going to actually be having you do some homework. This is, you know, the way that I teach and host my programs and my trainings is really about helping you see results and feel different by the end of what we're going to be doing. So this isn't just going to be an information gathering. You don't need more information. That's how we're all stuck in this overwhelm, information overload state. And I don't want that for you. So we're really going to be, you know, practicing the things that I'm sharing and having really beautiful, powerful conversations in a safe space together. And it's going to be really, really incredible. So if you can't make it live, don't worry. You're still going to want to get registered, because if you're on the list, you will get access to the recordings or the replays for a limited time after the workshops are done. So you'll still have a chance to catch up. So I know that's a big piece for a lot of us with busy spring plans. I just don't want you to miss out on this. So still get your name on the list, get registered. And it's really, we're going to be diving deep into, yes, how to trust our body's innate wisdom, but also really a deep conversation around why we emotionally eat, where those emotions are actually coming from, and really starting to uncover and understand our emotional patterns, how those are driving us to eat sugar and just binge whenever we can, whenever there's a hard day. And it's just going to be incredible. So I hope to see you there. Really excited to kick that off. I'm working behind the scenes on making it really, really powerful for all of you. And yeah, I'm so excited. I have some things that I'm planning that are going to be top secret for those who are joining. So yes, definitely get on the list. All right. So again, weekly insight. Okay. I love this segment of the show. I love sharing some pieces of what I'm learning. And every week, actually every day, I am learning big things, because that's just how I've trained my brain. I've really trained myself to, even when obstacles and challenges come up, to really look for the lesson in it. And I would say that's been one of the best gifts for myself, especially emotionally, energetically, is, you know, instead of seeing things as a failure or a challenge or a big issue, I really look for, and sometimes it's hard, don't get me wrong, in the moment, but I really love looking for the lesson in it. So I love bringing these to you every week. And before I share today's weekly insight, I actually have 2 insights that I want to share with you this week. And there's actually a huge list, so I'm paring it down just to 2. But really, this reminder, we're 3 weeks into March, and I had this moment last night where I realized how much has happened in my life in 3 weeks. And it really kind of hit me as like, wow, that's not a lot of time. And I've had some huge things happening in my life. Namely, we bought a house. It's the first time I'm actually sharing that live. Bought a house. We did our ceremony I talked about last week's episode. We did a deep healing psychedelic therapy session, which was like just bringing up all my traumas and processing and integrating that. What else happened this month? We also, last night, actually, this is an exciting update. 2 days ago, we accepted our first foster kitten situation. So I'm volunteering with the SPCA. I signed up a couple months ago to foster cats and kittens who just need a home until they get adopted. So we did that 2 days ago. So we've, rearranged our schedule to make that happen. And I've had some team members leave and no longer be with me. And I know I kind of mentioned this in a post last week that, the support that I thought I would have in the biggest, most busiest time. This is the busiest month. I'm hosting this boot camp for all of you. I'm opening registration for my emotional empowerment program in April. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and the support I thought I had is not there. And this is really where I wanted to segue into the second insight that I wanted to share. So insight number one is really just honor how much is going on in your life. Often we don't take a moment to sit back and go, wow, like, no wonder I'm tired. No wonder, things are kind of in a bit of a tailspin now. I've shared that, these last couple of weeks have been really difficult, and it's actually perfect because those who don't know this already, I'm doing a super clean eating March. So no alcohol, no dairy, no sugar, no gluten. There's a couple other things I can't remember. I'm just eating really, really clean, just giving my body a little reset and break from the normal moderation that I do allow myself. So it's really neat to observe, like, as these really big emotions and big growth, lots of fear, lots of challenges are coming up for me. It's really beautiful to practice what I preach. And I want you to know that I'm in this too, right? And I'm practicing this, using other tools and resources instead of turning to food when these things happen. And it's the years of practice that I've done in this, and the tools and the techniques that I use, and the rewiring that I've done in my brain that we're going to be talking about in the bootcamp, that have set me up for this. It's actually been pretty effortless. Yes, there have been some tears. There have been some really beautiful emotional processes. I've danced it out. I've screamed it out. I've really released, and I'm supporting myself in those ways that I know work for me. And yeah, it's really, really cool to kind of witness that at the same time as, not being able to have a glass of wine and not being able to turn to any of those things like I used to. So that is lesson number one. Number two, and then we're going to get into this episode, I promise, but a really a reminder and message coming through for me, for all of you today is around support, right? Like, support is so darn important in every area of our life. And I want to encourage all of us, and this is a lesson that I'm getting out of this, that I didn't do the best in really making sure, and actually that's not true. I've done pretty good at it, but in terms of my business and the team, that's something that I need to shift and learn from and grow into. And how can I make sure I've got other avenues of support? And I've actually been able to adjust really quickly. I've been able to find new people to help me with certain projects and things on the back end, which is great. People who know technology more than me. That's really, really fantastic. I'm grateful for that. And I've been able to kind of shift. And yes, there were emotions and it was difficult. Last week was really, really tough. And, but I've been able to shift and find new solutions as opposed to just staying in the problem. And I think that's really, really important. And when we can acknowledge, so the message here that I really just want to hit home is make sure that you have support in multiple areas of your life. One of the other things that's come up, after our ceremony the other week is both Ben and I were going through our process and just big things that week. And neither of us had the capacity to really support each other. We were just really in our, I could not be asked anything or put anything else on my plate. I was full up, and I was really just needing to look after me. And luckily, we're in such a conscious relationship where we can communicate that and acknowledge that. And we both were able to get the support that we needed from other people because we've set those networks up in our life. So the reminder here is just get support. Make sure you have a support network and you're not just putting all your eggs in one basket. This is so important, right? So many times we can rely on our one best girlfriend or our husband or that one person in our life to fill our support bucket up, right? And whenever we have a problem, we go there and we can vent and we can cry and hug, which is great. But sometimes that person's not going to be available. So who else can you rely on? Who else can you turn to? And it was such a beautiful example of that. And that really got highlighted for me, like, wow, we do have a really beautiful network of support. If Ben's not available, I've got my best girlfriend. If she's not available, I've got other girlfriends. Like if they're not available, I've got family. I really know who are my go-tos when shit hits the fan. And I think that's so important, especially as you're navigating this relationship with food, right? There's going to be people that don't get it, or there's going to be situations where that one person that does get it, that you need support from, isn't available. Maybe they're on a trip, or they're dealing with their own really difficult time and they just don't have the capacity. So really making sure that you have got options. That's the message there. Make sure that you've got support in all areas of your life as well. Maybe there's relationship support or work support, right? Maybe there's support that you need around your job. And, that's one thing that Ben and I have noticed, when I need support with my work or something's going bad on the back end, he's not my main go-to because he doesn't know my business. He doesn't need to be in my business. There's other people that I turn to, my colleagues and people who really get it, that support me through that stuff. So, it's okay to compartmentalize who supports you with what, and I think that's really helpful because it allows you to lean on different people and really open up and be vulnerable and build different relationships as well. And obviously get what you need, get the support that you need when you need it. So support's so important. We're going to obviously have more conversations about that. So there you have it. Really big updates. It's been a crazy 3 weeks. I cannot believe I was sitting there yesterday wondering, why do I feel just unmotivated at night? I've been really feeling tired. I just want to have a bath and watch some Netflix, which is great. Really great progress, by the way, because 6 years ago, it was bath, Netflix, wine, candy, pasta, all at the same time. And now it's just the bath and the movie, right? I can settle with that. And kittens and kittens. Oh my goodness. What a source of joy. I start my day in there now. I just went in the room this morning and they're just chasing each other around, and there is just nothing that sparks dopamine. Who needs sugar when you've got little kittens running around? I'll tell you that. Oh my gosh. So if you're not actually following me on Instagram yet, you're going to want to do that because I'm sharing a lot of cute cat photos and videos in my stories. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Enough of that. I know that was a bit of an update. There's a lot in there. Hopefully you got some nuggets from that and some insights and reminders for yourself of what you can start doing to really set yourself up for proper support and also honor when there's a lot going on. The truth is we've all had a lot going on the last 2 years, a lot. And a lot of it is mental, emotional, energetic pieces that we don't even notice. Right. And if you haven't set yourself up with proper tools to release those emotions, you're going to start feeling bogged down. And this is what happened to someone in my life recently that, she really has been holding it together for 2 years for her kids, for, just getting through the day. And we do this, right? We're resilient. We just have to suck it up to get through the day. And what happens is eventually we'll explode, right? Eventually we will cave in. And this is what happens when we stifle our emotions and don't really allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel. So we are all carrying around, myself included, a whole bucket load of emotions that we've probably stuffed down the last 2 years. And that's exactly why this boot camp is so important, because you're going to be learning the tools to start releasing some of that, releasing some of that pressure and learning how to actually honor and flow that energy out so you don't explode. And so your body doesn't explode. And really, really important, you're not going to be driving to food because you're going to be actually honoring your emotions. So that's in the boot camp. Come get registered. And today, I want to share, like I said, a teaser, conversation that we're going to be diving a lot deeper into in the emotional eating bootcamp. But I have 2 questions for you, to start this off. Do you trust your body? Do you listen to your body's signals? Most of you are answering no to both those questions. And that's okay. And the truth is that most of us have been so disconnected from our body for our whole lives. We learn at a young age, right? This is really fascinating when we talk about the psychology of really not getting into our body, not trusting that our body knows how to heal itself, not trusting our body when it tells us it needs something or something's not working. Right? We've learned from a young age, think of the example, those first 7 to 10 years of life where we really, oh my goodness. And I'm seeing this with the kittens. I'm seeing them watch their mom use the litter box, eat, groom herself, and they're replicating her. And this is what we do. This is how we learn when we're brand new beings on this planet. We watch the people around us. We just watch even before we can talk, right? Right when we come out of the womb, we watch and we learn how things are done. We learn about the world. We learn how to do things. And what most of us have seen and learned is that when somebody in the family gets sick, right? Or somebody's dealing with pain or they're not feeling well, what do? We go immediately to the doctor, or we immediately take pharmaceutical drugs. So right there, we learn, oh, okay, my body must not be able to heal itself. I need something outside of it to make me better. Right there, we learn that. And that patterning is so deep. Everywhere that we see this messaging, right? It's in the media, it's in the movies, it's in just how our society functions in get sick, go to the doctor, get sick, take a pill. And we get this pattern over and over and over again for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Of course, we're going to start really deeply believing our body doesn't know what's best for us. Our body is working against us. We need someone or something outside of ourselves to fix it. We must be broken. Something else is going to fix it. And there is a huge industry, unfortunately, living in this world that promotes unhealthy food and lifestyle, right? You deserve a break, have a lean cuisine, or go to McDonald's for dinner, right? This messaging is being hit in us all the time. And we're promoting this unhealthy lifestyle, this unhealthy way of eating. And then voila, the pharmaceutical industry comes in, or the other, food industries come in and sell you the solution to the symptom that you're having, right? This is the sick truth of this industry and this world that we live in is there's a lot of money in making us sick and selling us the quote unquote solution. I'm air quoting if you're listening on podcasts. This is so toxic and so not okay, and really important for you to know. If you listen a couple of episodes ago, we had Maddie Lansdowne on really talking about how the industry works. If you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go and do that. Really, really eye-opening, just understanding what's going on. And I like to start there because for me, it really helps me just build that awareness. Like I think step one to everything and any change is awareness. So it really helps me build that awareness of, oh, okay, this is where this is coming from. And it doesn't mean I'm broken. It's not my fault. Please stop blaming yourself. Okay. We've all been disconnected because of the way our world is set up. And now you can do something about it. And this is really beautiful. If you're still listening to this episode, I'm really excited because I'm going to share some things that you can do. And, really just understanding this is such a big place to start, right? Where these beliefs came from for you, that my body is broken. My body doesn't know what's best for me. I can't trust my body, right? And we've been through this life where, okay, we've trusted this diet, right? Or this new fad, and it didn't work for us. So that must mean there's something wrong with our body, not something wrong with that diet, right? Like we blame ourselves so easily because we've been beaten down and we've been taught to second guess ourselves. We've been so taught to not trust ourselves. I mean, think of in school, right? Like you have to ask permission for everything. You have to put your hand up and ask if you can go to the bathroom, which is just ridiculous, right? Like, hi, can I please do a natural body function? And can I have your permission for it? As opposed to honoring what we need. So we're in this loop of having to ask for permission all the time, not trusting our body, thinking our body is out to get us. And I know this because I've been through it. And every one of my clients has this belief, right? That my body is working against me. Can you relate with that? I'm really curious. So this is not just an individual problem. This is why I'm filming and recording an episode on this right now. And why we're going to be diving deep into this in the bootcamp is because there are a couple steps here to start like relearning and understanding this. Okay. Awareness being number one. And the next thing that I really want to dive into is answering this question of, okay, well, how does our body send us signals? And this is really fascinating. Okay.
I'm going to talk mostly about the physical piece here, because this is where most of us can relearn how to trust those signals. There's both physical signals and mental emotional signals, and our body is so miraculous at healing itself. And this is where we need to start knowing this. Believing it and understanding it is one thing, but having that deep knowing, and it's taken me years to kind of see that, right? And I've had to prove to myself and build that trust with my body, like, oh yeah, you can heal yourself. And we can easily look for stories. You might know people in your life that have beat all the odds, right? That have used the power of their mind to beat cancer, to really heal from just incredible disasters. And this is the power of our body and our mind working together in healing ourselves when we support it, right? We have to put our bodies in the environment that's going to allow it to heal, right? When we're in an inflamed, stressed, not, rested state, our body's not going to heal, right? We have to provide it the right environment, just like you would I'm definitely not a scientist, but just like you would, in a petri dish, you would have the right solution and fluids in there so that those cells can multiply, right? So we need to provide that right environment for healing. And that's where we're going wrong, right? That as a society, that's where we've messed things up. We've been taught to work 12-hour days, to not prioritize our sleep, to not set healthy boundaries, to eat like crap, to, we've been really forced into this environment and living style that promotes disease, right? And then we get the quick fix that's just fixing a quote unquote fixing a symptom that we're dealing with. So how does your body start sending you signals? This is really important to understand. And I'm going to share about the level of disease development here. When I learned this, it was so mind blowing. Okay, but the body sends you signals in various ways. Okay, physically, when your body's out of balance, right? So this is when your body is talking to you. Your body is saying, hey, something's not working here. We need to make a change, right? Maybe, hey, I think you're allergic to gluten. Maybe we should get that out of the diet. Or, hey, I think your blood sugar is really, really dangerously high and irregular and not a healthy process. We should do something about it. Our body is telling us these things, and we don't know how to interpret those signals because we've never learned. This class should have been taught in school, but it's not. So you're getting the class now, and I'm here to apparently teach it. So things that really show up first, right? A lot of people will notice, your bowel movements. That's step number one. Look for your bowel movements. Are they healthy? Are they solid? Are they well formed? Are they well colored? Are they loose? Are they inconsistent? Are you constipated? Bowel movements are number one, because your digestive system is the start of your whole health. So if your digestive system is not working properly, it's just a signal that there's something else imbalanced or something going on to look into. Things like headaches, frequent headaches. Obviously, sometimes a headache might show up and it's just, infrequent. It's like a random, like when I get a headache, I know that it's because I'm not hydrated. Sometimes I'm like, oh, did I drink water today? Okay, that's where my headache's coming from, right? So headaches, pain in the body. A lot of people just assume, right? Arthritis is just because I'm getting old. And I know some of you listening to this struggle with this now. But pain in the body, any pain in the body, is a signal that there's inflammation. And when there's inflammation, that's a signal that something's out of balance in your body, right? And that you're not in the right lifestyle or diet or stress. There's just probably things going on there. And obviously, it does take some investigating to figure it out. Other signals, right? Unexplained weight gain. You're starting to gain weight. I know that does obviously hormonally, when we're imbalanced hormonally, that happens, right? Things like skin issues. I know this is a big one for a lot of people developing food allergies. You'll notice like, oh my gosh, I'm getting rashes on my skin or blemishes. I'm really just starting to pay attention to these things that come up for you. Things like brain fog, or just not being able to sleep, having trouble sleeping, being exhausted, right? Having low energy. These are just a couple examples of how our body speaks to us. All of these symptoms that you might just take a pill for or ignore are actual signals your body is trying to tell you something. So this can also happen mentally and emotionally, right? Maybe you're feeling depressed or really low, or you're stressed and anxious every day. One of the things that I'm going to be teaching a lot of in the boot camp, and actually also in the emotional empowerment program that's starting in April, is really how to understand your emotions as a compass. And I love this example because when we can start to see every day our emotional home, right, is the emotion that we feel the most that day. So it's not about, if you feel stressed for a couple hours, that that means that you need to turn your whole life upside down. But when you're starting to notice a pattern, like every day I'm depressed or every day I'm stressed and anxious, like I did when I worked at my office job, right? That pattern was very real. Like, this is my life. And I ignored it for 2 years. Finally, I woke up to it. But that is really our emotions, words of you need. And oftentimes we ignore those emotions, right? Maybe it's in a relationship that we don't feel relaxed in. It's a very stressful, tumultuous relationship, or a job, right? And every day we're stressed and anxious and dealing with heavy emotions, and we're ignoring it. Instead, seeing that as a sign, like, okay, I need to pay attention here and look at maybe areas of my life that just aren't working. And I need to get honest with myself and make those changes. So really seeing your emotions on a daily basis as like this guiding compass. I really love that. And that's been supportive for me. I noticed if I'm going through really big times of stress, I can reflect, like, where is this coming from? Oh, okay, it's just a freak accident right now. There's like lots going on. Or, wow, this has been a couple of weeks I've been feeling this way. Is there something that I need to shift? Is there something I need to change in my life here? Like, where is the stress coming from? So that's really, our body can send us signals mentally, emotionally as well. And starting to learn to pay attention to those, a lot of you might kind of think of that as your intuition as well. Really that inner knowing and guidance, which we have been taught to be disconnected from. And relearning how to connect with that is going to be a big part, actually, of the emotional empowerment program that's upcoming. We're going to be really learning those tools to listen to the whispers. And I actually have some tools that you can use physically to tap into that and to start to notice. An example I wanted to share here as we're talking about this, right, is like a fever. I love the example of the fever because a fever, when you get sick, a fever has a purpose. Right? That your body knows what to do when it gets sick. Your body knows if you've provided the right supportive environment, right? And you haven't, got a whole bunch of other comorbidities, right? Your body is pretty healthy. You've got a fever environment. You're going to rest. You're going to drink fluids. You're going to do like Danny does and eat raw garlic to kick whatever's coming. Your fever is a natural body response to burn off and kill that virus or bacteria or whatever it is that's causing you to be sick. And what do most of us do when we get a fever? We try to make the fever go away. We take a pill, right? We take some sort of drugs and really make the fever go away because it's uncomfortable. Of course it's uncomfortable. Your body's trying to burn bacteria so that you can be healthy again. So what we've been trained to do is, as soon as our body sends us a signal, maybe it's a headache or a fever, we just take a pill to make it go away. And what that does is it suppresses the body's natural ability to fight when it needs to fight. And really, like, prolong what's going on for you. Right? Your body is going to be sick a lot longer if you don't let it fight how it knows what to do. When I learned this, it blew my mind. And I said, never again will I stifle a fever. I actually encourage a fever. I'll take a hot bath. I'll go in the sauna because I'm so grateful in that moment that my body is burning things up. And I love this. And this is what I did when I had COVID last month, like actually 2 months ago. I think it was 2 months ago now. I kicked it in 2 days, like really amazing. I provided the right environment. As soon as I knew I was getting sick, right? Took a test. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And I had my protocols organized. I was going to provide my body with the right environment. I rested. I drank a lot of water. I had garlic. I took crazy amounts of my supplements. I nebulized. I did an iodine wash. Like, I hit it with everything, because that was how I was providing that right environment for my body to fight when it needed to fight. And I had a fever for 2 days. And I let the fever burn. I let it burn. And I was grateful for it. I sent gratitude to my body in knowing how to heal, knowing how to fight what it needed to fight, and really just, supporting it through that. So I encourage you to, number one, don't guilt yourself or shame yourself if this is what you do. Okay. This is what I used to do all the time. Headache, take a pill. Fever, take a pill, right? Like it was just like, I need to live life, right? Because we're so afraid of pausing and slowing down and calling in sick for work, right? We prioritize everything else and we just don't set ourselves up. We don't put our bodies in the environments where they can heal. So this is, problem number one. And I just really encourage you, I want to share that because I want you to start seeing differently when your body gives you a signal, whether it's pain or fever or you're exhausted, right? Seeing that as a message. Okay, my body's fighting something. How can I support it to do what it needs to do? Because my body knows what it needs to do. And my body is built to fight things and to support itself. And like our natural tendency at a cellular level is to thrive and live and be healthy. So we need to really start making shifts, and they can be small shifts or big shifts. And I think this is the biggest one, is learning to listen to those whispers. And this other piece, and I'm going to share it in 2 seconds. We're going to wrap things up soon. I'm going to share like how you can start actually listening to this wisdom so you can start doing this today. But before I do that, I want to share this thought process, this level of disease development. This is a really powerful and something that I believe I first heard about or read in Gabor Mate's book, When the Body Says No. That's a really powerful book. If you've never read it, all of his books are powerful. Please read them. But this was really interesting to me because it made a lot of sense, and I want to share it to you. So how disease develops in the body is it starts as a whisper. So if we think of our body always sending us signals, always talking to us, right? You think at the beginning of a disease, it's going to tell us there's something out of balance. And these whispers can be a headache, maybe your bowel movements start not being great, maybe you're starting to not sleep as well, right? You know that feeling when like you just know innately that I think I'm getting sick, right? You're not quite sick yet, but you're like feeling a bit off, right? That is the whisper. That is your body first whisper saying, hey, something's up. Let's take a look. And we ignore those whispers. Most of us ignore the whispers. We push on. We've got to get to work. We've got the kids to look after. I'm going to ignore this and it's going to go away. And what the body has to do, because we're not listening, is talk louder. So then the body starts talking louder. Maybe those once in a while headaches turn into daily migraines. Maybe we actually do get sick because we weren't listening about slowing down and resting. And now we're stuck on the couch for 2 weeks. Our body starts talking louder. And we still don't listen, right? We see those things, we go, oh, the migraines, I'm just going to take pills to make it go away. I'm just going to, take more pills to make the sickness go away so I can get back to work. I can get back to life, right? So we find a way to power through, suppress what's coming up, ignore it again. And this is where the body has to yell louder. So now the body is screaming at us. It's screaming at us by developing chronic diseases, whether it's diabetes or cancer or a stroke. Our body is making it impossible for us to ignore. So this is really eye-opening when we think about disease development in the way of, hey, our body starts telling us that something's off really early on. Our body knows, but we are so accustomed to ignoring it until the body starts screaming at us. And this is where I want all of you to start learning to listen to the whispers, and not just listen to them, but actually honor them. Because I believe that this is such a powerful tool to prevent disease. Yes, of course, there's lots of other like lifestyle and diet factors that we need to bring in to prevent disease, obviously. But say, for example, you're overdosing on sugar and you're eating, not the best. Your body's going to start telling you that something needs to change, right? You're going to have low energy. You're going to have brain fog. You're going to start gaining weight, right? And if you ignore all those things and you don't do anything about it, you bet your bottom dollar, you're going to start getting into the dangerous territory of, hey, you're not listening to me, so now I have to scream. So here's cancer, here's lung disease, here's liver disease, here's diabetes, here's something that's going to be so debilitating that you are forced to make a change in your life. And my hope for all of you listening to this is that you don't wait till then to make a change, right? Like this is, your body knows what to do, and you need to just meet it there. And start listening to that wisdom before it gets to a point where it's toxic, right? And it's really hard to come back from. Not impossible. Of course, you can heal from all of those chronic diseases, I believe, 100%. But it's going to be a whole heck of a lot more difficult if you let it get to the point where your body has to scream at you and it has to make you listen, right? When you're really just not paying attention, and you could do it so much earlier and it would be so much easier. And I'm hoping that, especially in the realm of sugar, like you're starting to pay attention now. And that's why you're listening to this podcast. So that's my hope. So how do we start trusting our inner wisdom? Like I said, we'll be diving way deeper into this in the boot camp, but the basic framework is step one is you have to learn to listen. Okay. You have to learn to listen. So, how many times have we gone through our day really just powering through with coffee, not really paying attention to the fact that we're exhausted, or, powering through our headaches with headache pills, right? So we need to learn to listen. We need to learn. And the way to do this is to slow down, right? To have a minute in your day or 10 minutes in your day where you sit in stillness, you sit in silence. Maybe it's a meditation. Maybe it's just sitting out on your front deck in the sun and just listen, just getting in the practice of taking a deep breath and tuning in. What am I feeling in my body right now? Oh, my shoulders are tight. I feel kind of crampy or bloated, or my ankle kind of hurts, or my knees are sore. Like, what are you feeling? So just getting in the practice of learning to listen, learning to actually take note of what your body is feeling, both internally and externally, right? Like, how does your digestion feeling? Are you feeling heaviness in your heart, right? What are some of those pieces that are coming up for you? And then the second step here is to take action according to what it's telling you. So if you're exhausted every day, and to be honest, this is something I'm going through right now. Like, I'm feeling really, I'm getting through the day, but when I shut off work at 5 o'clock every night, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, I've got no zest to do anything, because as I shared earlier in this episode, there's been a lot going on for the last 3 weeks. And I totally understand where that exhaustion is coming from. So when those things show up for you, it really is like building trust with your body, and your inner wisdom is about taking action, being like, I hear you, body. I hear you. I hear your headache. I hear your exhaustion, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to rest. I'm going to take the day off work tomorrow. I'm going to go for a walk in nature. I'm going to drink extra water today. Like, what is that signal telling you? And then doing it. So we have to first learn to listen. Second step in rebuilding this trust is actually taking action. And trust is built over time. So this is one of those practices that needs repetition and practice, right? It's every day. One thing, I'm feeling really tired. I'm going to go to bed at 7 o'clock, or I'm feeling, really stressed today. I'm going to have a dance party, right? Like, how much do we actually take the action based off of what our body is telling us? And it is definitely a practice of learning to put the pieces together around like what's showing up in our body versus what it means. And that's a big learning piece that we're going to be going through in the emotional empowerment program, because that takes some finesse and some real practice in knowing, okay, I've got a headache, but what does it mean? Right? Or I've got pain, or I'm exhausted, but what does it mean? Where's it coming from? Right? Is it because of my diet? Is it because I just haven't been going to bed on time? Like, where's that coming from? So that does take some time and some practice, but just as an overview, those are the really, really important key takeaways that I want you to get from this episode. And I really hope that you found this helpful. This is such an important topic, and something so near and dear to my heart. I'm so excited to have had this conversation with all of you today. I would love to hear your biggest takeaways. Come and share with me over on Instagram or Facebook, and really, really, really just practice, just being aware of this. Be patient with yourself, be curious. Okay, we've gotten to this place, by no fault of our own. And I really want you to embody and know that your body is not broken, and it's not working against you. It's actually trying to support you. And in the right environment, if you provide it the right environment where you're sleeping and hydrating and, moving your body every day and eating healthy, right? This environment that will help your body heal. And we all have that ability. Our body is built to heal itself. And the unfortunate truth is, if we all knew this, and which is my hope and dream for the world, if we all really knew this and embodied this, there would be some very, very upset and very poor industries and companies. So, that's the unfortunate truth, keeping us in this overwhelm and confusion and needing something outside of ourselves to fix our bodies. There's industries making billions of dollars just on that. And I want all of us to start taking our power back and starting to know that we can heal our body with real food, with real support. And don't get me wrong. Okay, sometimes these pharmaceuticals or these tools need to come in. Sometimes there is a time and a place, but relying on them is a different story. So I did, when I had COVID 2 months ago, one night I did take what did I take? Anyway, I took something to make my fever go down because I couldn't sleep. And I knew that I needed to sleep in order to heal. So there was this time where I did suppress my fever very intentionally and consciously. After letting it burn all day, I said, you know what? I need to get a good sleep tonight because I hadn't been sleeping, obviously hot and cold up all night. So I took it, got an amazing sleep. The next day I woke up feeling 80% better. My fever was gone naturally, and my body had needed that rest. So I intuitively knew that I need to prioritize sleep right here over my body's fire going off. So we can use it as a tool, but I really want us to be conscious and intentional about it, as opposed to relying on it as just a go-to avoidance technique. Okay, so that's my hope for all of you, really starting to take your power back on this. And homework item: come and register for Emotional Eating Bootcamp. We're going to be, like I said, having more of this conversation, engaging together in community, and really opening up what's going on here, and so many other pieces on the 3-day workshop. So come and get registered. If you're not already, you can find the link below this episode. And I cannot thank you enough for tuning in again today. I hope that you have an amazing week, and stay tuned for more exciting updates soon. The next couple of weeks are really, really exciting, with the boot camp coming up and registration opening for the 8-week emotional empowerment program. So brand new, revamped version 2.0 program I created 3 years ago. I'm refilming the whole thing. It's just going to be out of this world. Deep, deep, deep healing our inner patterns and inner wounds around sugar addiction and around why we reach for food, doing this really deep inner work that I'm always talking about. So we're going to be diving in together as an amazing community, and stay tuned for more on that. If you're not on my email list already, come over to my website, make sure to do that, get on the wait list as well for that program if you're curious to be the first to know when I release all the details in the coming weeks. All right, everyone, have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. If you're loving what we talked about today, please remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone you love. And if you're ready to dive deeper into discovering your root causes and patterns that are keeping you hooked on sugar, be sure to check out our brand new free workshop series that will help you kick emotional eating for good. Find the link to download this free series and other amazing resources in the show notes below.